learned in the human-centered design presentation from a couple weeks ago, what we learned about user experience, why it matters to all of us. Then we're going to talk about the principles of human-centered design. For the human-centered design process that we walk through, we know that it is anchored in empathy. We want to learn as much as we can about the people that we're actually designing things for, so that we can really kind of put ourselves in their shoes and understand and see what the actual problem is. And then that's how we go and we define what the actual problem is, because it isn't always what the stakeholders tell us that the problem is. How can we then start to ideate out solutions to those problems? So all this time we're keeping in mind that human, that person, that we're empathizing with. We're defining what the problem is for them. We're ideating solutions to the problem that will work for them. And then we prototype those solutions. We put them into a format that we can quickly get them into users' hands so that we can test. One thing that we didn't discuss in our last presentation was the iterative nature of the human-centered design process. Now, when we go through, because these are really fast work steps that we want to be able to go through. We want to be able to do this quickly, and we want to, we prototype things instead of building a solution, because we want to get it in users' hands so that they can test. And when they test, we're going to get feedback. We should really, as designers, anticipate that we're not going to get it right the first time. We get this into the users' hands, we get feedback from the users, we return, maybe we go back and prototype again, and then we test again. Maybe we find that the solutions that we thought about weren't correct or weren't applicable. Maybe the problem isn't the problem. Now, we learned that if we focus on the users, all else will follow. If we're keeping that user in mind, what their actual wants and needs are, what their capabilities are, and what the problem that we're trying to solve for them really is, everything should follow. If we don't, then we end up with Pontiac Aztec. We also learned that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Vanessa went through a bunch of stats about how, and it blows me away just how few of the people that visit our sites and use our applications are going to stay. How minuscule the opportunities that we have to grab people's attention, draw them in, and get them into this fluid workflow that we're trying to create for them to ultimately to solve a problem. So how do we empower everybody? Developers, QA people, designers, to think and to act and to do their work from a human-centered perspective. If we get ourselves some core principles and then we're able to do our work, we can develop based on human-centered principles, then we have something that we can keep in mind, that we can, a prism that we can view all of the work that we do, not just the work that we do, but the work that everybody else does, the work that I do. All right, so the principles of human-centered design, very simple, there's only three. First, we focus on the people. That's the whole empathy piece of it. And we carry this through the rest of the work that we do. Then we find the right problem. And a lot of times, like I said before, it's not the problem that we're told that it might be. If we keep in mind, especially when we're designing and when we're developing, what the core purpose, the primary purpose of the application is, and the people that we're building it for, then we're able to see what the right problem is. And the third thing is to think of everything as a system. So I know that it serves us well to develop in a way where we modularize the software that we build. We build components that are reusable and interchangeable, and we design patterns that are reusable and cross-functional. But we want to think about how those things fit into the big picture. So it's not just this one page or this one piece of this page that I'm building, but how it fits into the overall workflow, for the entire system. Getting into the UI UX scorecard. Each section has a core tenet that we want to try to adhere to, and under each of those there are some specific points that we can try to measure our work and the work of others in the organization against. And another tip is if you haven't done this, send loading GIFs to your friends as images and text messages, especially when they're there, so they can sit there and wait for the image to come up. That's always a good time.